Okay, can we start?
Yes, sir.
So, today we will discuss about sociology and common sense. So, this is actually the third topic from your chapter 1. So, with this we will complete our chapter 1. So, with this we will complete our chapter 1. So, first we have done with emergence of sociology, and then we have discussed about scope of sociology, and there is a third topic, that is sociology and common sense. So see, when we discuss about scope of sociology, I got some doubts from you yesterday, so I thought of discussing it today. See, the thing is that most of the things that we have discussed yesterday, I've already told you, to understand it in a much better way, we have to actually complete the syllabus. And there are some not, textbooks and all, you will see different other thinkers are also talking about the scope. But if you remember, if you see in our discussion yesterday, we have actually incorporated few thinkers which are actually required for us and that you are anyway studying. Like Weber we discussed about Durkheim. So these are the thinkers that we need and we are studying in sociology in detail. So you will be in a position to write a very good answer with those thinkers. Apart from that, there are many other thinkers are talking about different scope, right? So in case if you have any problem, that we can discuss also now. If you have any doubt, you can ask me now with respect to that discussion, or those things or those thinkers which I have read, I can explain also, not a problem. But I want to tell you again and again, a lot of reading, you read multiple sources, you will come across different sociologists talking about different scope. Sociology can go for specific, sociology can also go for abstraction. And you see, when we discussed yesterday, when we discussed about Weber, I was talking about the same only, that Weber was going for specific micro understanding, and when we discussed about Parson, I've told you it is an integrated approach. And later when you study about Parson, you will understand that Parson is actually going for study of abstraction in his theory of social system. So you will see these specific studies as well as abstractions within sociology itself. So you can write from your side rather than quoting a thinker like Simmel or Coser. Rather than even discussing about that, you can also say from your side, okay, this is sociology can be specific, sociology can be general, sociology, the scope is wider. It's up to you, okay? But we will complete the paper so you will understand in a much better way. Any doubt here from yesterday's discussion?
No, sir.
Abhishek was asking something in message, but I couldn't reply. I was busy. Any doubt, Abhishek?
No, sir. You rectify my doubt later.
Okay, I replied. Oh, sorry. Ram, what you asked me, I haven't read of it. I'll see that. Okay, later.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So today we will start with sociology and common sense. Okay, so this debate, first of all, what you need to know is why this particular debate is there. So once you know the context of the debate, automatically, again here also, like what we have discussed yesterday, the answer should come from you. Your side, you should be in a position to write an answer here. So if you go and ask to a sociologist whether sociology is common sense or not, what he should be telling, exactly the same way you will be in a position to discuss and write an answer once you complete the paper. You will never say sociology is nothing more than common sense, right? Sociology will be much more than common sense, and that is the reason why you are studying, and that is the reason why you need a help of me, right? You need a help of any teacher, right? If it is nothing more than common sense, you can just read the textbooks and you can understand everything if it is common sense. So obviously it is not common sense. Common sense is required. Without having common sense, you cannot study also. So there are some interlinkages, but understand what is the context of this debate. The context of this debate is very simple. Sociology emerged, and initial sociologists, they were oriented more towards making sociology in the line similar to natural sciences. So all those things are going on one side, but at the same time, if you see the subject matter of sociology like social change, or if you see your paper 2 itself, we have discussed about family, we have discussed about judge money system, or we have discussed about religion. All these things are actually known to us, right? So if I'm saying, let's say, so once we complete chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and then thinkers, then if I'm telling you that we will study family today, then you may think that what is there to study new in family? We have a family and we know about family, right? So that is actually the commonsensical understanding. Even when we talk about inequality, you know about inequality, something you have seen throughout the life. Okay, you know what is the idea of rich, poor, okay, how inequality is coming, etc. But in sociology, what we are going to do is entirely different. We are trying to understand inequality in different perspective, the functions of inequality. Even when we talk about poverty, there are certain functions for poverty. Okay, if poverty do not have any function for the society, if poverty is not doing anything for the society, poverty will not be there. It is because it is existing, because it is necessarily doing certain functions. Corruption. Okay, so corruption, there are some functions also for corruption. There are dysfunctions obviously, but you know from the perspective of dysfunction. That is a commonsensical understanding. But when we talk from sociological point of view, there are certain functions also, but I'm not trying to justify or anything here, even poverty also. But we see things in a different way. We try to explain why, despite the fact that everybody is accepting that these are not accepted social reality, but still it is there in society, widespread. Manifestly you can see poverty, corruption, inequality, all these things you can see, because all these have certain functions to do. As a general study student, you cannot tell what is the function of poverty or corruption. With common sense, you cannot say this. You will not even think of it, right? So that is what we are actually. So for example, when we talk about corruption, okay, we will see, even this is important for your ethics also, we will talk about manifest level and latent level. Something which can be seen is manifest, something which is hidden, that is latent. Forget about the function part. Okay, so even when we discuss about dysfunction, the commonsensical view will only talk about what is something which can be directly derived from corruption. What is a direct issue with respect to corruption? Some people are getting some disadvantage, but there are obviously latent dysfunction also. This is not understood by the common people. Hidden dysfunctions. It will affect the trust in the society. It will affect the trust of the system. So all those issues are there, which is connected to corruption. Okay, and then we will also try to understand different types of corruption, like collusive corruption, coercive corruption. You might have heard about all this. Collusive means two party like A and B, they are joining together and they both will get benefit. So they don't have any problem in case of collusive corruption. A is paying to B, B is giving A some contract. Okay, so ultimately who is getting here there is no problem between A and B, collusive corruption, but ultimately who is in trouble? The society, because if A is paying heavy money to B for getting the contract, means he will only recover 10 times of that money from the society only. So ultimately it is the society who is going to face the dysfunction here, right? Coercive corruption on the other hand, it is very much dysfunctional also, altogether dysfunctional, because like you go to a village office, okay, and the village officer is asking you pay 100 rupee or 200 rupee for giving this OBC certificate or any such kind of certificates, etc. That is coercive. You are forced to. Here you are entering into that contract agreement. All these is something which we need to discuss under ethics only, but I am saying these are the ways in which you can see that particular social phenomena. So in case of sociology, this is how we are going to see any social phenomena. Okay, we will find the functions, we will find the dysfunction, we will see at the manifest level, we will go for at the latent level, hidden aspect, and everything will be understood. So in that context, you can simply say, again, when we discuss about violence against women, all these we will see in different perspective. So sociology is nothing. Yeah.
Sir, so this is like direct and indirect effects of that social phenomena?
Yes. Direct and indirect effect of social phenomena. In case of common sense, we will only talk about mostly the direct impact, direct effect. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Now here, not only that, we will talk more also. So commonsensical understanding is very limited in scope. Now we will go for the context here. The context here is, if you see most of the topics which is studied by sociology is quite obvious. it is already rooted in the minds of the people, right? It is already rooted in the minds of the people means those studies, right? Religion, family or kinship, social change, social structure, politics, all these are already there in the minds of the people. So this is actually the context. So you need to simply say one or two line that most of the things or subject matter which is connected to sociology is already rooted in the minds of the people. So in this context, people mistakenly believe that sociology is nothing but the application of common sense. Okay, obviously towards the end of this discussion, as a conclusion, we will say without common sense, sociology cannot survive. You cannot sit here and you cannot study if you don't have common sense. So common sense is obviously an essential aspect of sociology, but sociology is not common sense. Okay, so sociological knowledge is based on logical connections, evidence, reason, testing, theory building, interpretation. It passed through a lot of different stages. For example, when we conduct a study on domestic violence or domestic violence itself, so we take up different interpretations, different data collection procedure we will go for in sociology, and we will come up with the understanding. It may be because of dowry, or it may be because of alcoholism, okay, or we come up with different reason, but common sensical understanding will be based on some general perception. Okay, so common sense is mostly based on some general perception. Sociology is based on study, based on evidence, based on logic, based on reason, based on testing, based on generalization. So sociology, we can say, is much more than common sense. So this third one, now this is how they will ask you question, or you will get question. Sociology and common sense, this is a direct one. Sociology is nothing more than common sense. Sociology is much more than common sense. So these are the questions which are asked. So what you need to do is you need to explain. This is a structure. You explain what is sociology. So first you need to tell what is the context of this debate. That I have already given you. The context is nothing but you already understood that when sociology emerged, okay, the most of the elements that sociology study are quite obvious, which are already rooted in the minds of the people. So people mistakenly started believing that sociology is nothing but the application of common sense, and since then this debate is there. Sociology is just common sense. So if you see, even in your paper 2, most of the teachers will say just be open-minded and write whatever is coming to your mind, right? Because even people are taking it in that way, whether it is caste system or anything, but that is not necessarily the case. If you do that, it will be just a GS answer, right? So in case of sociology, even when you're writing answers, you know what to do. So it is clearly mentioned in the top, write a short note by keeping in mind a sociological perspective. So there is something more to do than a GS student. So I think yesterday or day before yesterday, I've talked about Green Revolution, one of the impact of Green Revolution, how it was connected to sex ratio, or how the adverse sex ratio in Punjab can be explained with the help of Green Revolution, the migration concept. Only a sociologist can do such kind of interpretation. Common sense will never come up with that interpretation. Even that, for that matter, general studies student also will not come up with that interpretation. Okay, so we will first discuss about the context, and then we discuss what is common sense, and then we say what is sociology. So common sense is something which is there in the minds of people. People believe that these are true, but these are not necessarily true. It may not be false also. It can be true, it can be false. But people believe that the ideas they carry in their mind is true. Okay, then what is sociology? Sociological knowledge is based on evidence, testing, reason, generalization, theory building. So you can write what is common sense and what is sociology. Then we need to see what is the difference between them. Okay, so in the difference we will try to make sociology superior, and then we will talk about the similarity. Whatever differences we said, we will try to change it, and we will say what are the similarities. Okay, and then finally we will come up with the conclusion. In conclusion, we will say, we won't say anything is superior here. See, if you are saying sociology is superior, without common sense you cannot become a sociologist. So both are required. So we will say, we will go for this approach only. We will take a balanced approach by saying that it should be considered in terms of mutual stimulus or mutually beneficial. Without sociology or without common sense, sociology will not work. Okay, so both are mutually stimulus and mutually beneficial. So in that context, actually the relative superiority or inferiority is meaningless. You don't want to conclude by saying that sociology is superior. You also don't want to say by conclude by saying that sociology and common sense is almost same. Obviously you won't do that, but I'm telling this. So the better approach for this particular answer is, you can say the relative superiority or inferiority is meaningless, because both are equally required, both are contributing towards the development. Okay, so without common sense, sociology also cannot develop. So in fact, the starting point of sociology itself is based on common sense. If you don't have common sense, you cannot even start the research. So in all ways, sociology and common sense are connected, but obviously sociology have much more to do with common sense. I hope you understood what we need to discuss and what are the differences, what are the similarity. Whatever we discuss here in the PDF, just cut, copy, paste exactly the same thing, and that's your answer. Differences when we say sociology is based on logical reasoning, evidence, testing, etc., whereas common sense is based on general perception. Okay, sociological knowledge can be tested, commonsensical knowledge cannot be tested. Commonsensical knowledge may contradict each other, sociological knowledge may be coherent. Okay, like that we will come up with some differences, just for the purpose of writing an answer. So here I'll give you a ready-made answer, but again I'm telling you, except the first one, emergence of sociology, that is a fixed answer. Scope of sociology, there is no fixed answer, and you should never go for this fixed answer. Whatever is possible when you come across, I don't want you to read the scope of sociology from multiple sources at this point of time. If that is the case, I can also give you a lot of content. What all things that you're going to discuss in future, I can pump everything here in that PDF. I've given you an answer format. You don't want to refer to hundreds of materials and fit those contents in that. It will come to you automatically. See, understand, even if you have nothing, okay, even if you are not reading anything, only following that PDF, you have enough and more content to write in your answer. But what I'm saying is, with that note, it is not required that you need to read other sources. Just go for the future thinkers and future topics that we are going to discuss. From there only, from your side, you should be in a position to write. Then only you're going to fetch mark, and then only you will get that confidence. It is not possible for you. I'm telling you, there are people who have already given mains. I'm telling you, so okay, you can understand that at least once you start giving a test series, you may think in the beginning that I will prepare all the answers very well, I'll study that and I'll reproduce. It is never going to be possible. It is never desirable also in sociology. It should come from within. You ask me something, I can tell that in 100 words, in 200 words, in 300 words, and in 400 words also. That should be the knowledge level that you need to have about a particular topic which is there in the syllabus. So once you know the subject, it will come to you. Somebody is asking me sociology, the scope of sociology. I don't want to go for that particular PDF, and even I change the order which I have discussed in the PDF. Even I myself may not be able to recollect. See, this batch, this is the 6th batch in 3 months. Every month I have 2 batch. One is at 6 o'clock and one is at 9 o'clock. Okay, so every month actually I have 2 batch, and this is 6th batch in the 3 months. So understand, even then I may not be able to recollect. I am repeating the same thing time and again. People are asking the doubt also. So forget about your case. It is going to be obviously difficult once we have this much of syllabus and topics are there with you. Maybe replicating or reproducing is possible in the case of first 3 chapters, but that's not desirable. Okay, you will lose the confidence ultimately, because the questions will come in different ways. I've seen some of you are writing the answer yesterday also. So you have to align it with the question. The content what we have, you have to align it with the question. Okay, so how to align it with the question? If you go for this fixed approach, it is not possible for you. What we need to see the question, we need to see the content, and we need to fix it as per the demand of the question. So that we will discuss once we complete the syllabus. I'll go for question answer sessions. There we will discuss all those things. But I'm telling you, don't go for mugging up. Okay, so ultimately once you complete the syllabus, you should have, and you will get enough content, and it's all about the way you are going to present it. Even for this answer also, once you complete the syllabus, if somebody is asking you what is the scope of sociology, or is sociology and common sense the same, you should be and you will be in a position to answer it. If not, if you're not able to answer these two questions from your side, then there is no point in you actually taking this exam. At least you can explain the syllabus, no? And that is your answer actually for these 2 questions. At least if you can explain the syllabus minimum to the minimum, that is your answer for these 2 questions. So I'm telling you, these 2 questions, don't want to study separately from hundreds of sources. It's just waste of time. You're not going to get anything. For that time you can effectively utilize for understanding various other thinkers. Okay, but maybe one or two sources you can read, but I've seen some of the students are incorporating from 3, 4, 5 sources. You just only accumulate content. It is not required. What is required for the question you already have. Some more for your satisfaction you can do that, but not beyond a limit. These are not that that kind of topics where you need to put that much effort. It's not worth it. For thinkers you can do, you can read, you can keep on reading, no issues. Yeah, Kumar, tell me, Umesh.
Sir, actually, it's related to your content. Basically, sir, for me, I'm totally relying on you. Okay, because your mentorship. There are a lot of videos on the Telegram, a lot of material in the Telegram or in various groups. So there are a lot of material, but we have to read selectively. So, I request you to give us material which is required, which is beneficial to all of us.
Yes,
so
yes.
That's what this class, sir.
Yeah, Umesh, now for that matter to all of you, these topics, it is whatever you need extra. I am not saying that you need only my material. I will never say that. Okay, I know I've also gone through this exam. Okay, 3 times, 4 times, 3 times I've given mains. Okay, so I've gone through this and I've also read extra materials. I've read Vajira material. I've told you have to read Vajira material, and I'm not updating my notes with Vajira material here. Only my notes separately. Vajiram I was reading. So I've told you for certain topics you need to read that. I'll tell you in case of paper 2 some topics you need that reading. I will tell you where to read. It's not that for all topics you need, it's unnecessary waste of time. Paper 2 you can read. Paper 1, the simple strategy is read one book 5 times and keep all those things that you learned in your mind. There is paper 2 you read 5 book 1 time. Keep on reading maximum in case of paper 2 because it is unpredictable, so much unpredictable. Whatever predictable area in paper 2 is there, we will discuss that in detail in the class. So whatever we cover in the class from paper 2, what is there in the syllabus, that is required, that is static part to an extent, and whatever is possible you need to read, then only you can enhance the mark. There is no question about that. Whatever is required extra reading, I will tell you. Thinkers, you don't want anything to read. You can be very confident about that. Basically, I'm very strong in thinkers. That thinkers is my strength. Okay, and after the completion of this lecture, you will also realize that you will be strong in thinkers, and other areas is not that. Paper 1, everything is connected to thinker. So once you're done with thinkers, you will understand how strong you are getting in the paper. Okay, so yeah.
Yes, sir, can I say that for paper 1, your notes are sufficient. Like your notes, we can keep reading 4 times, 5 times, and this will be a very good choice for us, like 80%, 90%.
That's what actually you need to do. This note, see, once you're attending a coaching class, okay, so this is something which you're attending. So that note should be the main preference for you. Because the teacher is explaining, so the concept and content, it is very easy for you to recollect and to remember. So this has to be the primary material for, in case of paper 1. In case of paper 2, if you are not following my material, I don't have any issue. But paper 1, it has to be your primary material. Secondary, you can go for Harlem Boss. You can read Harlem Boss. You need to read Harlem Boss for some topic. I'll tell you, for family, this chapter, you need more reading. So you need to read that. Because in case of family, I will stick to the syllabus, but family is so dynamic, you need to read more and more and more different perspectives you need to incorporate. But there are obvious limitations in the class. I am making a commitment that I am finishing it in 2.5 months, right? So this chapter, family, similarly religion, social change, this is a very vast topic actually. Okay, so politics and society, some extra reading is required. I'll tell you what you need to read. And if you want to make it simple, if you want to make it simple, you can go for essential sociology. That's the easiest way you can cover the syllabus apart from the classes. See, it is almost similar thing only. Whatever you see in the notes, almost the same thing you can see in essential sociology. Okay, so whatever missing link is there that you can find in the class. Okay, so this is what fundamentally you need for your paper 1. Mainly Harlem Boss. If not Harlem Boss, at least essential sociology. Supplement it with the class note. Paper 2, the best choice for me, even if I am taking the exam, I will go for at least once. Paper 2, for sure. So that's what I want you also to do. Okay, so we will move to the PDF. The scope of sociology mainly draws from the understanding of society. right? The various constituents of society which sociologists study are rooted in the minds of the people. Already it is there in the minds of the people. In this context, many people mistakenly believe that sociology is nothing but the application of commonsensical knowledge. So that is actually the context. It is often argued that what sociology study is quite obvious, and thus the relationship between the two must be delineated carefully. So we are going to do that. So we will first explain what is common sense and what is sociology. Commonsensical explanation represent the things that everybody know about the social world or human behavior, right? So common sense is something which everybody know. If we all know, we all have some knowledge about caste, right? So we all have some knowledge about caste, but the knowledge I have about this particular system and what you think about caste will be entirely different, because I am studying sociology for the last 10 years. So I have some different understanding than what you have. We will see that, okay? The functions also will see. Common sense is nothing but things which everybody know about the social world or human behavior. These views are in the nature of beliefs which a common man carries in the mind, right? You carry certain beliefs. Even for example, for that matter, this UPSC exam also, you people carry certain things in your mind, at least those who are freshers, right? So you have, if you haven't taken this exam, you carry certain things in the mind. You might have referred to some toppers, okay? So you carry certain things in the mind, this is what you need to do, etc. But that may not be the case in practice, okay? But what I think, it will be entirely different. We have gone through a process for a long period of time. It's been around 9-10 years in the process, so I know more than what you think, right? So exactly in the same way, these views are in the nature of beliefs which common man carries in the mind, okay? These beliefs may not be necessarily incorrect. That means it can be true, it may not be true also, but in general they are assumed to be true by common people. Now again, let me tell you one thing. In case if you are facing any problem with any particular answer, this is the go-to answer for you. Whatever is given in the PDF, it's a go-to answer. If you are not able to get it, just mug it up and then reproduce it, no problem, because the question will be like that only, okay? Now the validity of the commonsensical view is not generally questioned, okay? Nobody is going to question the commonsensical view, right? What you think about a particular item, what you think about a particular phenomena, what you think about family, religion, nobody is coming and questioning about that. On the other hand, sociological views are in the nature of arguments which are based on logic and reason. These are not simply in the nature of assumptions, but are arguments based on evidence and reason. On the basis of the differences and similarities, or superiority and inferiority between the two can be examined. Now differences. Sociological knowledge is the product of theory development and testing. Common sense, on the other hand, is just based on assumption, okay? That is a main difference. Second, sociological knowledge is based on insights into human society and culture. These insights are often objective and coherent. On the other hand, commonsensical knowledge are not always coherent and contradict with each other. Common sense may contradict. For example, statements like birds of the same feather flock together, right? So that is one commonsensical statement, and opposite attract. These two are actually contradictory. Birds of the same feather will be together and opposite will be together. Both are contradictory, both are commonsensical statement. There's a problem with common sense. So we are saying that problem is not there in sociology, but obviously when you go further, you will see such kind of problems in sociology also. What Marx talking about religion and what Durkheim talking about religion will be totally different because of the perspectives. Okay, we'll come to that. So the sound is clear when the video is there?
Yes.
Tell me, Gaurang.
Sir, so how can you define that the sociological knowledge is coherent? Because as you know, you are telling that the Weber and Marx, they are also different in their view. So we are comparing to that to the common sense to the sociological view. And you are telling that the sociological view is coherent in time. But on the other hand, you are telling that the Weber and the Marx are different in their views.
No, in case of sociology, different thinkers, different sociologists are using different perspectives, so obviously their interpretation will vary. But when we are writing this particular answer, we cannot say no in the beginning. We are trying to support this particular subject, this particular discipline. As a sociologist, we have to tell this. This is our, in fact, this is our job that we need to say here. So we cannot say here that sociological knowledge is also, just common sense. We cannot do that, no. So in that context, we are saying this. But ultimately, I am telling you, even when we discuss about the criticism part or the other side, we can discuss this also. That is a criticism that obviously will be there. If somebody is criticizing this point, obviously you can tell that. Even I also told you, Marx come up with certain understanding about religion. Religion is the opium of masses. On the other hand, Durkheim is saying that religion integrating masses. Merton says multiplicity of religion create conflict. Weber says religion led to capitalism. Marx says capitalism created religion. All these are contradictory. Okay, so all these are again, all these are the subjective perceptions or predispositions of the different thinkers only. Because they are using different perspective, they come up with different interpretation. Even for inequality also, some people will say inequality is functional. Some people will say inequality is creating conflict and it is dysfunctional. Some say poverty is functional. Poverty is doing certain functions for the society. Otherwise, this menial manual jobs, nobody will do, right? So there are functions and there are dysfunctions also, as it create conflict and disharmony in the society. So these are different perspectives.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, and you don't worry about this kind of contradictions in this particular answer. Here our job is basically to support. When we are talking about the difference, we will highlight the maximum difference, and when we talk about the similarity, we talk exactly the opposite. So you don't worry about the sentences that we have written here. This is only for the purpose of making an answer and to make a sociologist who's evaluating the paper, will make him happy. That's it. That's the objective here. Okay. So common sense is something, sometimes it's nothing but a general perception based on individual's experience. So you think something, that is your common sense. You experience something, that becomes part of your common sense. But sociology aim at generating a worldview on the basis of experiences which are tested. For example, general perception about crime. Next point, next difference. So commonsensical view tend to reinforce status quo.
Please explain this example, sir. What do you want?
No, general perception about crime means we think that crime is always dysfunctional. Crime should not be there, right? That is a commonsensical understanding, and that is a general perception. Crime is always seen through dysfunctional terms.
Okay.
But a sociologist will say, for example, Emile Durkheim will say, certain rate of crime is normal in society, and in fact it is required in society to keep a check on the policing and judiciary system. Otherwise, all of a sudden, if something happened, big crimes, big issues happen, the entire society will collapse and there will be a total disorder and disharmony, and the turmoil will be there in society. So some rates of crime should be normal, and it has to be there in the society for the proper functioning of the society.
Okay, thank you.
Similarly, certain rate of suicide is normal because it keeps a check on why people are committing suicide, and you can manage it. Otherwise, if this issues, it is going, and then finally, if all of a sudden everybody commits suicide, that will be a big problem. So certain rate of crime, certain rate of suicide, etc. are normal.
Okay.
That is sociological understanding. But general students will never say that crime is normal, right? Same is the case with poverty, same is the case with inequality, I just discussed before. Next point, commonsensical view tend to reinforce status quo or resist social change. Status quo means no change. So reinforce the status quo. What exactly is going on, the same should continue. They are against the change or resist social change. On the other hand, sociological knowledge is meant to be progressive in nature, and it promotes social change in a desirable direction. For example, most commonsensical view on caste system tend to legitimize caste, whereas sociological understanding reject it. So sociology promotes change, but not common sense. Next point, commonsensical views are.
So it's like common sense is rigid, but sociology is like flexible or dynamic.
Sociology is dynamic, yeah. Sociology is promoting social change. It is dynamic. At least we can say sociology thinks in a rational, scientific way. That is why it promotes social change.
But common sense is rigid.
Common sense, we cannot say conclusively, completely. Common sense often try to, act as a status
I
quo.
mean, it's not like flexible. It's like every person has individual thinking. And
Yes. But even some people, common sense also will promote social change. For example, if you talk about Raja Ram Mohan Roy, okay, but these are exceptions. The entire society is saying something, but Raja Ram Mohan Roy is saying something different, right? But so that in that context, he is promoting social change. So I'm not making it as a general, but in general we can say commonsensical knowledge. So the knowledge about caste system, the idea about caste system, the idea about sati, right? You have to commit sati. This is the entire society demanding. So that is actually the value system of society. When we talk about the value system, it is actually the code of conduct or the rules which are followed by the society. When it comes to morality, that is at the individual level. So Rajaram Mohan Roy actually went against the value system of society, but still his common sense is actually working over there. We cannot conclusively say common sense will not promote social change. Obviously it will promote social change, but not necessarily. Okay?
Yes, sir. Sir, please repeat this example. Caste system tends to legitimize caste. This one.
Yeah, caste system tend to legitimize, or the commonsensical view on caste system. See, common sense will think about, caste, it is there in Manusmriti, so it has to be practiced.
Sir, your audio is not clear.
So, am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so commonsensical view about caste system means what generally people think about caste system, because people are very much orthodox, people are very much religious. So what they think about caste system, it is there in Manusmriti. So certain caste have to follow this occupation, certain caste to get some privileges, certain caste has to be associated with certain disabilities. So Dalits has to be treated like this, untouchability should be there. So this is what commonsensical knowledge, and that will promote or legitimize caste. It is there in the Manusmriti, it is given by the god, so it has to be followed. But sociology will say these are promoting inequality and these are, not good for the harmony or integration of society. So sociological knowledge reject it. Tell me. Yeah. Tell me, somebody raising your hand. Vivo 1804.
Sorry.
Okay.
It's by mistake.
Yeah. So have you got this example? Any issues there?
Yes, sir.
Now, commonsensical view are often based on images that get reinforced through stereotypes. On the other hand, sociological knowledge is not based on stereotypes, rather it challenges the stereotypes. For example, when we talk about commonsensical views, it is basically based on some images, right? Like when we talk about saints, certain image will come to you, right? That is basically common sense. It's not the case always. Then heroes in movies, certain image will come to you. Villains, right? So all these are actually reinforced through stereotypes. So that is not the case with sociology. Okay, so it in fact challenges the stereotypical ideas, etc. Now we also need to go for similarities. So apart,
Sir, excuse me.
tell me.
Sir, you said commonsensical view, sir, you're legitimizing the caste system. Sir, but those people who are undergoing such oppression, they will have some view. Why? I mean, against the caste system.
No, I did not understand.
Sir, actually you said commonsensical view, general view, tends to support legitimizing the caste system. But those who are undergoing oppression will have a different view on that case.
Yes.
So then what is common sense is under.
Yeah, okay. I will tell. Okay, I understood. See, here the thing is, firstly, I have taken this as an example. This is one of the case where we are talking about, this related to social change. It can be anything. One example I have taken is related to caste system. In case of common sense, see, even those who oppress people are also started thinking in such a way that It is the god's wish that they are supposed to face this problem. They are not the chosen one by the god. So they also start believing that over a period of time. So that is common sense. Again, commonsensical understanding about gender. Okay. So what is sex? What is gender? There is a difference. I will come to that. So commonsensical understanding of gender. So there is a sexual division of labor. So
Yes, sir.
what is sexual?
Sir, actually, in view of promoting sociological views, is it giving negative connotation for common sense?
We are not giving negative connotation. I told you in case of Rajaram Mohan Roy also, he is not a sociologist. But still, generally, what is the case is what we are discussing. In fact, obviously, here we are promoting sociology, that is for sure. We are trying to talk positively about sociology, that is for sure, because we cannot make a conclusion that sociology is nothing but common sense, right? Obviously, we cannot say that. So, we need to write many things positive about sociology. Okay, now this is one example. Again, commonsensical view about gender. If you think, like you say, female have to do this kind of occupation, but sociology will say female is capable of doing any kind of occupation. Okay, so or common sense will say patriarchy should be there, but the male dominance should be there because it is there in the religion, it is there in the rituals and everything. It is there, but sociology will be against it. So we are giving some examples for that. Yeah, Navjit, tell me.
Okay.
So can say that common sense is somewhat biased.
Here, our this write-up is biased or not? What is that? What you are asking?
Matlab, we can say common sense is somewhat biased or not.
Yes. Common sense, we can say it is based on the biasness of that particular person. My common sense and your common sense will be different. It will be based on from where we have, grown up, which school you have studied, what is your peer group, everything. Common sense based on that. But once I complete the syllabus, sociological knowledge of all these things will be common to all of us, right?
Okay, sir.
But even within sociology also, that bias will come based on the perspective. You may think that micro is better, I may think that macro is better. You may think that functionalist approach is better, I may think that conflict approach. You will understand all these keywords later, don't worry about this. So within sociology also that bias may come, obviously, because it's a social science, you are dealing with human beings. So biasness will be there. Human being studying another human being. So obviously bias is there.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So now similarities, concepts in sociology are framed. Now here we support both. Okay, like we will say common sense is equally contributing for sociology. So here you will see I'm giving importance to common sense. Till now we were talking mainly focusing on sociology. Okay, so here we are covering that issue. That means we are not completely biased. Concepts in sociology are framed by taking into consideration the commonsensical understanding. And common sense actually act as the starting point in the development of the context of sociology. So we have given a supporting argument and a good point for common sense also. Commonsensical view provide raw material for sociological investigation. The problems or issues addressed by sociology are taken from the commonsensical view only, right? Sociology of gender aims at questioning or analyzing the commonsensical view about gender. So again, common sense also help in development of discipline, as it often criticizes the sociological conclusion which enriches the discipline. See, by using common sense only, you will criticize the sociological conclusion. So that will be enriching the discipline. So common sense in a way helping in enrichment of discipline by criticizing the sociological understanding. Now this is the most important point, fourth one. Sometimes commonsensical knowledge become part of sociological knowledge become part of commonsensical knowledge and thereby helping in the development of common sense. So what I'm saying is, once you study sociology, okay, now the way you think all these setup like poverty or inequality, etc., all your understanding will be connected to sociology, not the way you think before. Once you complete this 2.5 months course, and the way you are going to see poverty, inequality, corruption, the kind of maturity that you're going to get, the current of the type of change that you're going to get in your character and personality, your thoughts and beliefs and perspectives will be totally different, and you will keep on continuing that because that is going to help you immensely in your essay, mains, everywhere. That's the kind of understanding that you're going to generate, and that will become automatically part of your common sense. That's what I'm saying. Once you study sociology, that will actually enhance your commonsensical knowledge also, and that will become part of the common sense also. Okay, so that's what actually I have written here. Now we'll go for the conclusion. Thus, the relation between sociology and common sense is intricate and mutually beneficial to each other. Even though some contradictions and etc. is there that we have discussed, but these are mutually beneficial to each other. Both are mutual stimulus, contributing to both. Okay, so without common sense, you cannot conduct a sociological investigation. If you don't have common sense, there is no point in your giving this exam. You're opting for sociology just because you have very good common sense. You have opted for this subject also, right? It is a very easy subject you can study also. And the postmodern theorists even claim that there is no such thing else, the truth, and all knowledge is uncertain. See, there is only one thing that is true. What is that? The truth. And nobody know that. Every knowledge is uncertain. Maybe tomorrow you will say that Newton's laws are proved wrong. Okay, so there is a truth and everything else is uncertain. There is no knowledge which is completely true. So that's the idea of postmodern theorists. You can quote the statement, the postmodern theorists even claim that there is no such thing else the truth. That means only the truth is correct and all knowledge is actually uncertain. Tomorrow you may, before that it was the smallest particle was atom. Then later it come some experimentation, it has been proved that atom can further be divided, right? So all knowledge is actually uncertain. There is nothing which is superior or inferior. So in this context, the relative superiority or inferiority is meaningless. So this has to be your conclusion. So whatever we have written here, just cut, copy, paste. That's it. Conclusion. Now I have given an article here. This is something which you can read. Okay. So this article you can go for it. Whether so it is directly starting with this only. How a sociological study different from common sense based view of social life. Just go through it. So yeah, that's about the discussion. Any doubt? We have done with our first chapter. One question for sure. No one get to know what is truth. That is the reality.
Sir, any role of common sense in the beginning of sociology, means in developing of sociology, emerging of sociology? Can we say any role of?
Obviously, we discussed in the emergence of sociology. We discussed about intellectuals. That's all related to intellectuals, right? So that is related to common sense and all. A lot of intellectual contributions are supposed to be discussed, and in fact you can add all those ideas of Locke, Bentham, Rousseau. Okay, so those concepts that you will study in world history, you can add. You will study all these in your ethics paper also, all these philosophers. In case if required, the more detailed understanding of intellectual background, you can add that in your emergence of sociology. In fact, I've updated the PDF I've sent to you in the Telegram. I've given an updated PDF where I've also added French Revolution. Just go through that. But that's not important. In a worst case scenario, if the question is asked like that, you should be having some content. But I was expecting that you will get that content from world history knowledge.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So this is a very simple topic, right? Don't want to make it complex.
Sir, so we can say like there is no way to differentiate between true and untrue stories in sociology and common sense.
There is no way to what? Pardon, I didn't get you.
So there is no way to differentiate between what is true and what is false.
What is true now may be false tomorrow.
Okay.
Right?
Sir, can we say where common sense lapses, sociology fills?
Okay, all these are different individuals' own interpretation. Now see, once we're done with sociology, the syllabus and the subject, whatever you feel like, you can write. Okay, if it is, if you have that conviction, if you think that it is fitting here, then you can say that, no problem. Nobody is going to question you, because see, ultimately understand these are social science.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. So can we say that sociology is a byproduct of individuals' common sense?
We can't say that. Okay, but common sense is required. That is what we can say. If we are saying sociology is a byproduct of individuals' common sense, ultimately what you are saying sociology is nothing more than common sense. We can't say that.
Okay, sir.
So when you are saying, ultimately you are saying you are supporting this statement, right? You are talking about this statement only.
Okay, sir.
So here, if this is your question, this you need to critically analyze. You have to write critically here. And your conclusion should be this. In this question, if this is a question which is asked, your conclusion should be this. Sociology is much more than common sense, but both are mutually interlinked and both are mutually beneficial. So in that context, there is no need to judge the relative superiority or inferiority.
Okay,
Sir, you are telling that whatever may be the question from this subject, but we need to phrase the sociology at the conclusion.
Phrase the sociology as?
At the conclusion part. Because the first question was something, sociology is nothing more than common sense, but you are telling us to write sociology much more than common sense. But whatever the question may be from this subject, we need to phrase the sociology at the conclusion.
We need to say that obviously sociology is much more than common sense, and we have enough point to support that. It is not that we are randomly making a statement. No, you can now. Why I am saying all these things is because once we're done with the subject, you will get a lot of supporting argument for this. See, here I have just given you the framework of the answer. All these things that we have discussed here, you should be in a position to see. Here the examples that I have given are elementary example. You should be in a position to substantiate it with better example, better thinkers, better theories. You will be in a position to, and you should be in a position to quote the thinkers that you are going to study, the theories that you are going to learn. It will be totally, and you are going to study about religion, family, every subject you are studying. So you can actually make a comparison. So this was common sense and this is sociology. Okay?
Excuse me, sir. Sir, what are the topics which is related to ethics in sociology?
There are many topics. We will discuss that. When I discuss about that topics, I will tell you. In fact, even there is one theory. I don't have time. Otherwise, see, one theory is there. The theory is actually anomy under Merton. Okay, I'll quickly tell you. This theory is based on means and goals. Okay, you need to achieve the goal. You have certain means, and this is what exactly given in your case studies. Also, you will be provided certain means as a government official or whatever it is, and you have to achieve certain goal also. And some of the case studies, if you see, they will ask you what are your 4 options, what are the available option. It is not necessary that you need to write all positive option. What are the available option and which one you will select, what is the reason. Okay, or they will give you option, you need to pick that. So here Merton is giving 5 response. Let's say this is means and this is goals. 5 response are like this. See, I tell you, this is what I have used. This only single concept I have used, supplemented with some moral thoughts and moral thinkers. And see, I got 131 in my first attempt, 134 in the second attempt. You can see the consistency. 117 in the third attempt because I missed a case study. If I would have scored that case study, at least 17 mark, 17 to 19 I would have scored, so it would have close to this. It is just accidentally I missed a case study. See, here there are different responses. You follow the correct mean, you achieve the goal. This is one option you can give. Second option, you may not follow the mean, but you achieve the goal. You try to achieve the goal. I give you an example here. In case if there is a flood situation, you are a collector or you are an SP, you have to evacuate people. So you need to follow the rules and regulations for evacuating. So you have to get the government vehicles, etc. Right? But you are not able to get that. In that case, you just approach for a private party. So He is not giving the vehicle, so you may threaten him and you take that vehicle. So the means are not correct, but you achieve the goal for the larger benefit of the society. So third option is you follow the correct means, you follow the rules, but you may not achieve the goal. You wait for the government vehicle to evacuate the people, and in that context flood will take away everything. So this is your third option. Fourth option is you don't achieve the goal, you don't follow the means. So these are your fourth option. Which one is the best option? This is the best option. You follow the correct rules and regulations which is there in the book and you achieve the goal. Second best option is this. You achieve the goal, but you may not follow the correct mean. If you need to threaten someone, you have to threaten someone also. Okay, so this is the third best option, because even though you are following the rules, but you are not achieving the goal. So that is the reason why I have given preference. Now see, there are Gandhian thoughts, deontological thought. They will say that all these things I have to discuss under ethics only. If you are going for Gandhian approach, you will say that even if you are not approaching achieving goal, this is better. So this should be your second attempt. But there is another concept, utilitarianism. They say that achievement of goal is more important. If it is doing good for the larger society, larger number of people, maximum happiness for maximum people, then even though you are not following correct means, it is good. So this single one theory itself is going to help you a lot in your ethics paper. Forget about other parts. There are many other parts also. We will be discussing that. So some of you have already written mains. Some of you have already studied Merton. They might be realizing that this now only. But this is something which you can read. It is a very well fit answer you will get in ethics. You don't want to do anything. Just follow this approach. And you can name also conformist. First person is conformist. Then retreatist, ritualist, rebellion. Different names are also there. So you can even quote Merton also there. And supplement it with utilitarianism, deontology, okay, all this concept also. See, those who don't study ethics, you don't want to worry about these terms that I am talking, but these are very simple, silly things only. That even later also you can study that. Hardly 10 days is enough. Yeah, but definitely this subject is going to help you in ethics also.
Sir, do you agree with the view that sociology can never be science? What limitation need to be taken into consideration in scientific study of social phenomena?
Tomorrow I'll discuss this. Tomorrow our topic is sociology as science. There I'll discuss this.
Okay, sir.
Tell me.
As I said before, a commonsensical view doesn't desire any change. But it was that view of a normal person changed to the sociological view of a thinker, sir. In this context also we can say common sense doesn't desire that changes.
In that context I'm giving an example. Common sense is just trying to accept what it is. Common sense generally won't question the situations, but there may be some individuals, they will question it. Like that is the example I've told you, Rajaram Mohan Roy. So common sense generally accept those things, and they will go with the existing reality. They won't promote social change. That is just an example to fit that context. It can be caste, it can be related to gender, it can be related to anything. Okay. Okay, can we stop here?
Sir, any particular view to keep in mind while reading the article given in PDF, or just related?
No. Just read. This is just for interest purpose. Nothing. You are not going to add anything from there also. You just need this answer only. And see, this answer plus what we are going to study in future. You need to add things from the future. What we are going to discuss in future. You will have to be in a position to add. To substantiate sociology have much more to do with common sense. Just for your interest purpose, just for knowledge purpose, just read that article. That's it.
Okay.
So
Sir, this is the last question. Actually, I wanted to ask, you told that commonsensical view in the understanding of sociology, it was very helpful in earlier stage. So, can you, sir, give us some example of any thinker or any sociologist who just made the base commonsensical view to understand sociology in earlier stages? If I think of Saint Simon, who wants to read sociology as a natural science, so can we say that that was a commonsensical view of Saint Simon?
No. That is not related to common sense. But future thinkers, obviously, you can get examples from Emile Durkheim's understanding on religion. Okay, so we will discuss that in the coming sessions.
Okay, later on.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Right. Okay, thank you.
Sir. So in the subject 1, we have read about 3 topics, and the context of the question they are getting from these 3 topics. So whenever I'm going to approach writing the answer, so what to be in the mind? What to be in the mind so that common in these 3 topics to be stressful to that we can design a question on that basis.
I didn't get you. What was the question?
We have read the sociology and the discipline. We have read 3 topics.
Yes.
And if you are getting any question out of these 3, so we should have any particular common in these 3 topics, so that whenever we are going to writing the questions answer, so what should be our approach to writing? Means the introduction section, the conclusion section, the back section. We should have some common things to implement on the writing of the answer. So that's why I want to ask.
Actually, the approach is what we have discussed here. This answer writing approach, exactly in the same format only I have given you the PDF. It is similar to the answer that you are going to write, but you will get a lot of other contents later. I have not incorporated those contents because there is no point if I talk about that. You will get demotivated and you will not understand also. What we are going to discuss in the future classes need to be incorporated here, and that you will be in a position to do that. Trust me, you can do that. You will not face any problem.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay, can we stop?
Yes, sir, definitely.
Yes, sir.
Okay, see you.
Sir, one last question.
Tell me.
Sir, what scope of including current affairs in paper 1, sir?
Paper 1, before also I've told you, paper 1 also there is a huge scope for current affairs. For example, not in thinkers, even in thinkers also the relevance when we talk about, related to theory of suicide. So suicide is also a contemporary reality, no? So that question is actually expected this year. Question on suicide, and you know the reason why it is expected, right? So there is a contemporary reality, there is a contemporary relevance for that. So you need to add those examples. Why this particular person committing suicide? What should be the reason? What is the social aspect of it? All these can be added in your answer.
Okay.
Religion, a lot of things, family, a lot of things are coming, repeating. That contemporary examples has to be incorporated. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
What are the practical significance of sociology?
Once we complete sociology, you will understand.
Sir, any particular writer or author we have to keep in mind while reading the newspaper, either the Hindu or Indian Express, to develop view of sociology?
I would say there is no point in developing a particular view. Be neutral. Actually, we need to know the concepts. We need to know the facts and everything, and then we should be in a position to interpret in a neutral perspective. We can talk about all the perspectives like functionalist, conflict and everything. Let's understand the perspectives first. Tomorrow I'll start with the 2nd chapter, and then 3-4 days I'll start the 3rd chapter. So in another 5 days we will reach the thinkers. You will develop a perspective. Once you develop a perspective, you yourself will be able to follow a particular person. Okay, even if you are following that particular person, you should also be in a position to evaluate and respect the other perspective as well. So I would say, without being a functionalist or a conflict theorist, or without being a male or a female, without being a rural or urban, okay, or giving any such bias opinion, right, neutral, we can incorporate all, and we need to take that net balance towards the end in your answer. That net balance should be from your own side without having any bias. Ultimately, sociology, the study of sociology we are talking about, there should not be any personal bias. So why we need to follow then a particular person who's having a certain perspective? No need of that. But obviously, whatever relevant articles are coming, I'll tell you.
Yes.
That I will do, and I will update in the WhatsApp group also. Whatever current examples and news are coming, I'll update in the WhatsApp group.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, see you.
Thank you, sir.
See you.